welcome to the Artist Pod. I am Christine, and today we're going to be talking about perspective. So perspective really helps draw things like, rooms or boxes or any sort of architectural elements. Remember when I first learned about it, my mind was blown. It's just sort of another tool to use that makes it so much easier to draw these things. And so let's get started. All right, so we're going to start with one-point perspective. So with one-point perspective, we start with a line here. This is our horizon line. And then in the middle of that line, we're going to draw a dot, and this is our vanishing point. So this is where everything will sort of converge to, is this point right here. The simplest way to think about it, or I guess the most stripped down version of it, is if you put like train tracks on that line, and then you add the slats for the train tracks, and as it gets closer together, you can see that both lines converge on the vanishing point, and they all kind of start jumbling together until you can't really make out what's happening at the end. But if you want to do it kind of all around, we're going to start with 6 squares, both above and below the horizon line. And then from those squares, we're going to add a bunch of lines. It's going to look a little crazy. And all of these lines are going to be tracing down to our vanishing point here. Now, note that we're not drawing through the boxes, right? Like I'm not drawing through this section here or through here. We are only drawing on the edges to make a box. So we're not going to draw through the box, we'll draw to the edge of the box. And then from there, we're going to add the sides. So these sides here are all to fill in that box. You'll note that the boxes that are both above and below, you can't see the sides, you can only see the top or the bottom because it's right over top or right below the vanishing point, so we're not going to be able to see either side of that. But the other boxes, we can certainly see the sides and underneath or on top of them. So we can see two sides versus the one. And then we only have to erase the lines. And now we have 6 boxes instead of 6 squares. So this would kind of be the idea if you were holding a box and you started moving it around your field of vision. This is kind of what you would see. That angle would shift and the vanishing point is what's going to direct you there. But we're not done. So we're going to add 3 more boxes directly on the horizon line. And then we're going to add their lines. And then we'll add their sides. Now you'll see when I did that, I'm only adding a side here and here. There's no side for this middle box because we're looking dead on at it. So we won't be able to see that. And then we're just going to erase out these lines, and now we have all of these boxes in all correct one-point perspective. So then we have two-point perspective. Two-point perspective starts kind of the same way. You're going to start with a horizon line, but instead of one vanishing point, you're going to have 2, and they're going to be kind of on opposite sides. So they'll be here and here. And so this is for if you're looking at the edge of a box. So we're going to draw a line both above here. Oh, I keep doing that. We're going to draw a line here and here, both above and below these points. And then we're going to add the lines extending straight from those lines to the vanishing point. So it's going to kind of look like a crazy little chomp monster. It's going to eat us up. And then we're going to add parallel box sides. So, we're going to add the line here, and then we're going to create this sort of almost diamond shape above and below. That's what's going to put it in perspective. And these lines here are within the lines we drew to the vanishing point. So we're not extending past it. We're staying within that vanishing point. And then all we have to do, where are my lines? So erase the right line, and there you go. Now we have 2 boxes above and below. We're still not done though. Now we have a point on the line, or a line on the line. And we're going to draw the lines from the edge there. And Tra-la. Now we have one on the actual horizon line itself in between both of the vanishing points. So this is kind of what you'll see if you're walking up to a building, right? Like if we were walking up to a grocery store or something, you had a sidewalk out front and then maybe a door. But you can see even the door follows those rules, right? Like even the door is kind of going towards the vanishing points. And so all of it's designed that way, including the sidewalk. All of these lines, all of these sort of hard, jagged lines are all going to go towards the vanishing points. And so that's how you really strip it down to create any sort of architectural image. But I have a couple of examples here. So the first is this cityscape, I guess, where you have the road here, and then you have the sidewalk come out. Now, because the road curves down, the sidewalk also curves down. And my vanishing point is here, so you can see everything is going towards that, including the tops. Oh, that was a really bad line. Including the tops of the windows. And underneath the windows, all of these lines are heading towards that vanishing point. With the exception of the windows here, right? These aren't going to be going towards that vanishing point because they're on a flat plane with us. So we wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't be angling basically. But everything else would be. Anything that's heading in that direction, and including my sort of very abstract lines here. And you can see that these windows, well, they're meant to be windows. They're really just lines. Adjust themselves as they go down the vanishing point, right? So at first they're going to start where they're angling kind of downward, and then they're going to angle straight to, and then they're kind of angling up, and that line gets more and more extreme the further down they get, because that angle is going to change how we see it. The next image I have is of a bunch of boxes. So this one, you can have 1-point and 2-point perspective in the same drawing, and this one kind of does, right? So we kind of have this horizon line here, and then we have a vanishing point, a vanishing point, and a vanishing point. And then the different boxes are responding to different vanishing points depending on what angle we're looking on them. So, these boxes all here, yep, that one too, this one as well. These are all 1-point perspective, but the one right in the middle here is 2-point perspective. The table is also 1-point perspective, so this is also 1-point perspective here. And you can kind of just see what angle the lines are coming in on. So it really just kind of depends where you are in a room, what angle you're on as you're looking at something, as to what angle you're going to be drawing your line to. So that's perspective. All right, so that was perspective, both 1-point and 2-point perspective. I hope that made sense. You can really strip down a lot of information to make it as clear as possible, so I hope that I was able to do that for you. And if you did like the video, please like and subscribe. I will be releasing more video content soon. Thank you all so much. Happy creating.